The cleaning cart stops in the middle of the hallway. Emily is already exhausted. You can see it in her slumped shoulders, in the wrinkled checklist clenched in her hand. "Wait, that's not mine," she says, pointing toward the door at the end of the hallway. "I already have 3 more rooms than everyone else today." Silence. One of the older employees lets out a short laugh. "Relax," he says. "You're young," another one adds, smirking. "And you're new." The supervisor approaches slowly. Calm posture, low voice, the kind of tone that doesn't need to shout to hurt. "Everyone's tired, Emily." He glances at the clipboard, but someone still has to do it. She swallows hard. "I can switch with someone," she tries again. "I still have 2 checkouts pending." The supervisor cuts her off with an overly polite smile. "You'll manage." The door at the end of the hallway draws attention. Suite 1408. 2 employees whisper. "That's the Millionaire's room. Lost his mind last night. Broke everything. Wine everywhere," someone adds. "Glass, furniture, even blood." Emily closes her eyes for a second. She thinks of her daughter, of the dentist, of the bill due in a few days. The cart is pushed toward her. "Good luck," someone says, laughing. She takes the key. The hallway feels longer now. The key turns. The door opens. Broken glass covers the floor like shards of ice. A table split in half. Shattered wine bottles, dried liquid staining the carpet, the curtains, the walls. On the white sheets, bloodstains. Not much, but enough to turn her stomach. Emily freezes. Behind her, the door closes on its own. She is alone with the chaos, alone with the job no one wanted to do. She kneels down, and in that moment, without knowing, without imagining, she is about to find something that should never have been lost. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, justice, and second chances, consider subscribing. As a thank you, you'll receive daily emotional stories. Comment where you're watching from. The hotel never truly slept. Even on that quiet floor, there were sounds that never stopped. The distant hum of the elevator, the air conditioning breathing inside the walls, the low squeak of cleaning carts being pushed down other hallways. Inside the suite, the smell of dried wine mixed with cheap cleaning chemicals. It was heavy, nauseating, like something that should have ended, but didn't. The white ceiling light reflected off the shards of glass scattered across the floor. Every step required caution. Emily slips on her gloves slowly. Her fingers tremble slightly. Not from fear, from exhaustion. She starts the way she always does, picking up the larger pieces first, then the smaller ones, then what almost can't be seen. The cloth slides across the stained carpet. The dark red doesn't come out easily. She scrubs harder, her hand burns. Only then does she notice the small cut on her finger, probably from when she knelt down without realizing it. She squeezes the cloth, keeps going. Her body moves on autopilot, but her mind doesn't. She thinks of her daughter sitting in the high chair at the dental office, her feet swinging, not touching the floor. The dentist speaking slowly, as if the words might hurt less that way, if we wait too long. The damage can become permanent. Emily had nodded in silence, asked for the price at the end, felt the world shrink when she heard the amount. She wipes again, takes a deep breath. On the broken nightstand, she finds a crumpled napkin. Under it, coins, a few folded bills, tips. She carefully places them into her apron pocket. Not out of greed, out of hope. Every dollar already has a clear purpose in her mind. The cart squeaks as she pulls it further into the room. The wheel sticks, like always. She kneels again, and when she decides to clean under the bed, the last place, the most ignored, something interrupts her rhythm. The cloth touches something that isn't glass. She stops. Silence. Emily pulls gently. A package wrapped in thick paper, sealed with dark tape, emerges from the shadows. She doesn't open it. Not yet. She just holds it in her hands. And without knowing why, she feels that the room wasn't destroyed by carelessness, but by pain. Emily sits on the floor for a moment. Not out of laziness, out of necessity. The package rests on her legs, heavier than paper and tape should be. She runs her thumb along the side, feeling the uneven shape inside. Money, maybe. She would recognize that shape anywhere. The thought comes fast, and that's exactly why she pushes it away just as hard. She looks around the destroyed room. The broken bed, the split chair, the dried wine spread like a memory no one managed to erase. Nothing there looked like it was done for fun. Everything felt final. Emily closes her eyes for a second. Her daughter's image appears without asking permission. Lily sitting at the kitchen table, drawing with worn-down colored pencils. Her wide smile, even with sensitive teeth. The way she avoids biting hard foods without complaining. Emily remembers the night before. "Does it hurt today?" she had asked. Lily had shrugged. "A little. But I'm okay." That sentence still hurt more than any bill. Emily looks at the package again. She knows exactly how much time that money could buy. How many appointments, how many pains avoided, how many possible futures. No one was watching. Her co-workers wouldn't be back anytime soon. The guest was already gone. The damages had already been paid. If the package disappeared, no one would know. The idea doesn't arrive as temptation. It arrives as logic. And that scares her. She grips the package tighter, as if she needs to feel its real weight to stop the thought from growing. "It's not yours," she whispers, more to herself than to the empty room. She stands up. She places the package carefully in the cart, under clean cloths. Not in her pocket. Not hidden. Separate. Like something that still needs an owner. As she finishes cleaning, Emily starts noticing small details she hadn't seen before. A broken picture frame with no photo inside. A hand mark on the wall, not from anger, but from support. Like someone had needed to hold on just to stay standing. She cleans more slowly now. The initial judgment, the drunk millionaire, the rich man with no limits, begins to lose strength. In its place, an uncomfortable question appears. What makes someone destroy an entire room without touching a single drop of alcohol? When the room is finally in order, it feels strange, too empty, as if it had witnessed something no one else saw. Emily pushes the cart back out. In the hallway, she passes two co-workers. "Survived?" one of them asks with a crooked smile. She just nods. No one asks if she got cut. No one asks if it was hard. No one asks anything. She's used to it. She takes a deep breath. She knows what she has to do. And she knows she can't trust anyone inside that place to do it for her. When she leaves the hotel that night, the sky is already dark. Cold wind cuts through her thin coat. Lily waits for her, sitting on the steps, swinging her legs. "Mommy?" Emily smiles. "We're going home," she says, holding her daughter's hand. "Tomorrow, after work, we have something important to do." The package remains in the cart, locked inside the hotel storage room. Waiting. That night, Emily barely sleeps. The small apartment feels even smaller when her mind won't slow down. The kitchen clock marks the hours with a dry, insistent click. Lily sleeps on her side, hugging a pillow that's too thin. Emily watches her daughter for a few seconds. Then she gets up. On the kitchen table, the bills are spread out. The dental one sits on top. She closes her eyes. The package comes to mind without effort. Not as temptation, but as a weight that doesn't belong to her. The next day, the hotel looks the same. But it isn't. The destroyed room has already become gossip. A twisted story. A quick judgment. Rich people think they can do anything. Money doesn't buy class. Emily walks through the hallway without responding. She feels the looks. Not curious. Careful. As if they're waiting for something from her. During her shift, she notices something that had been happening for weeks, but now is too clear to ignore. The worst rooms keep going to her. Always her. Longer checkouts. Heavier work. More delays. When she questions it, she always gets the same answers. "You're faster. You don't complain. You handle it well." Emily understands what that means. Being efficient there is punishment. At the end of her shift, she doesn't go straight to the locker room. She goes to the old computer in the administrative area, used for schedules and reservations. She waits until no one is looking. She types the name she still remembers from the suite's electronic panel. It takes only a few seconds. One page, then another. She quickly closes the tabs when someone walks by, but she's already seen enough. Full name. Company. City. She doesn't feel proud. or guilty. Just certain of one thing. She will not hand that package to anyone at the hotel, not to coworkers, not to the supervisor, not to management. She already knows how stories disappear in places like that. When she leaves that night, the sky is overcast. The air feels heavy. Lily walks beside her in silence, holding her mother's hand tightly. "Where are we going?" the little girl asks. Emily answers honestly. "I need to return something. Nothing more." The drive is long. Neighborhoods change. Houses get larger. Emily parks in front of a discreet gate. No loud luxury. No showy display. She takes a deep breath. The doorbell sounds louder than it should. The door opens. The man standing in front of them doesn't look like the chaos he left behind. Closed expression, tired eyes, controlled voice. "Yes?" Emily feels her heart beat faster. "I'm sorry to come this late," she says. "I work at the hotel." His expression hardens. "What is this about?" Emily grips the package more tightly. "You left something behind." He looks at the bundle, then at her, then at the child beside her. The silence stretches. Finally, he steps aside. "Come in." The door closes behind them. And for the first time since everything began, Emily feels she can no longer turn back. The house is too quiet. Not the comfortable silence of a late night, but the kind that echoes as if it learned to stay alone. Emily steps in carefully. Lily stays close to her leg. The man closes the door without hurry. The sound of the lock feels final. "Sit," he says, pointing to the living room. No kindness, no rudeness, just direct. Emily sits on the edge of the couch. She doesn't relax. Lily observes the room with quiet curiosity. Framed pictures, books too neatly arranged, nothing out of place, no photos of children anywhere. The man remains standing. "You said I left something." Emily nods. She places the package on the coffee table carefully, like returning something fragile. "I found this while cleaning the room." He doesn't touch the package right away. He crosses his arms. "And why didn't you leave it at the hotel?" The question isn't aggressive. It's a test. "Because I didn't trust anyone there to handle it properly," she answers, steady. "And because it didn't feel right to leave it somewhere it could disappear." Silence. He studies her face for a few seconds too long. "You know how much trouble you could get into by coming here?" Emily doesn't look away. "Yes." "And you came anyway?" "Yes." He finally steps closer, touches the package. For a moment, his hand stops in the air, as if something there hurt before being seen. "You could have kept it," he says, still without opening it. "I already assumed it was gone." Emily feels her chest tighten. "I didn't assume that," she replies. "And I didn't keep it." He lets out a short, humorless laugh. People usually do. Lily, who had been silent until then, takes a small step forward. She doesn't speak. She just watches. The man notices. Something in his eyes changes. Not softens, but hesitates. "What's your name?" he asks, looking at Emily. "Emily." "And hers?" "Lily." He nods, as if he needs to remember that. Only then does he open the package. The sound of the paper tearing cuts through the room. He sees the money first. No reaction. Then the photographs. His body stiffens. His fingers tremble slightly as they touch the photo paper. He pulls one image out. Freezes. Time seems to slow down. Emily notices something she didn't expect. Not anger, not shame, but loss. The man closes his eyes for a second that lasts too long. When he opens them, there's moisture in them. Contained, not spilled. He turns his back quickly, as if the movement could hide everything. "These were supposed to be gone," he says, his voice low. Emily doesn't respond. Lily takes another step. Slowly, the little girl reaches out and gently touches his arm. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't need to. The man doesn't pull away. He takes a deep breath. Then, finally, he turns around. "You have no idea what you just returned to me," he says. He looks at Emily. "Why?" A pause. "Why bring this back?" Emily swallows. "Because it wasn't mine," she says. "And because it was the right thing to do." The silence that follows isn't empty. It's heavy. Loaded. He closes the package carefully. Holds it tight. "Thank you," he finally says. Just one word, but said as if it costs him something. Emily stands up. "I should go." She takes her daughter's hand. The man steps forward. Wait. He opens the package again, takes out part of the money. Please, he says. Take this. At least this. Emily feels her entire body resist. I can't. You should. I didn't come for a reward. He watches her for a long moment, then nods slowly. Not everyone would say that. Most people would take it. It doesn't matter, she replies. I did it because it was right. He puts the money back. Then you're different. Emily doesn't respond. She just leaves. The door closes behind them. The man remains standing in the living room, holding the package against his chest. As if, for the first time in a long while, something had been returned to where it truly belonged. The next morning, the hotel wakes up as usual. Doors open. Carts squeak. Voices echo through the hallways. Nothing suggests that anything is about to change. Emily arrives a few minutes early. Clean uniform, hair tied back. Her body is tired, but her posture is firm. She avoids her coworkers' eyes. Not out of shame, out of focus. The first room goes smoothly. The second one too. Midway through her shift, the supervisor appears in the hallway, clipboard in hand. Room 1412, he says without looking at her. Priority. Emily frowns. That room wasn't on my list. He finally looks up. It is now. She takes a deep breath. I can finish my current rooms first. The supervisor tilts his head slightly as if offering patience. The guest is waiting. Emily pushes the cart to the indicated door. When she turns the key, she feels something strange even before entering. The room is intact. Too neat for a checkout. Too clean for an emergency. The curtain is open. Morning light fills the space. And someone is sitting at the table. Emily freezes. It's him. The millionaire. He stands up slowly when he sees her. Relax, he says before she can speak. I paid for the room. I'm not checking out. She blinks, confused. If you needed something, sir, you could have asked the front desk. He smiles slightly. A short, controlled smile. I wanted to ask you. Emily grips the cart tighter. Is something wrong? No, he answers. A pause. Something is finally right. Outside the room, footsteps slow down. Voices lower. 2 employees stop a little too close to the door. Then a third one. Curiosity disguised as routine. The man notices. He doesn't react. I came to thank you properly, he continues. And to make you an offer. Emily shakes her head slightly. You don't need to. I already told you. This isn't about what you returned, he interrupts her, without raising his voice. It's about who you are. She doesn't respond. I've had staff in my house for years, he says. None of them stayed. They were efficient, polite, paid. A brief pause. But they weren't trustworthy. Emily feels her stomach tighten. I'm not looking for a new job, she says honestly. And I don't need special treatment. He nods. That's exactly why I'm offering. He slides a paper across the table. She doesn't take it. I need someone with character, he continues. Someone who doesn't look for shortcuts when no one is watching. Outside, the silence is too tense to be casual. I want you to work for me, he says. At my home. Emily takes a deep breath. I won't accept a job just because I returned something that wasn't mine. He stands up, takes a step forward. I didn't choose you because of that, he says. I chose you because you walked away with nothing. She swallows. I already have a job. I know. He points to the cart. I also know they give you more rooms than anyone else. Emily is surprised. I know they give you the heaviest work, he continues. I've seen this in many places. They do it because you don't complain. And because you're not like them. She lowers her eyes for the first time. How much? She asks, almost in a whisper. He answers without hesitation. 5 times what you earn here. The air seems to leave the room. Emily feels her eyes burn. Why? He doesn't answer right away. When he does, it's simple. Because dignity should never be underpaid. Outside, someone shifts, an irritated whisper. Emily rubs her face. My daughter needs surgery, she finally says. That salary would help, but I won't take charity. He steps a little closer. Then don't, he says. Let it be work, honest work, and I'll advance the surgery cost. Emily shakes her head. I can't accept that. I'll deduct it slowly from your paycheck, he replies. What matters is that she gets treated. Silence. Emily closes her eyes. When she opens them, there are tears. She nods. Okay, she really needs the treatment as soon as possible. The man smiles slightly. Good. He walks to the door, opens it. In the hallway, 3 employees pretend they're not there. He looks at them. No anger, no contempt, just clarity. She's done here, he says, effective immediately. Emily walks out beside him. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't need to. Behind them, the hallway remains silent. And for the first time, the looks aren't filled with contempt. They're filled with resentment. The elevator goes down in silence. Emily stands, holding the cart with one hand and the offer paper with the other. Marcus stands beside her, looking forward. Neither of them speaks. When the doors open in the lobby, the noise of the hotel rushes back. Footsteps, voices, phones ringing. Emily stops. I need to do something first, she says. Marcus looks at her. Of course. She walks to the front desk. The supervisor looks up when he sees her approach. Already done? He asks automatically. Emily places her badge on the counter. I'm resigning. The supervisor blinks, surprised. You can't just... I can, she replies calmly. And I am. He tries to smile. You know how hard it is to find work right now. Emily holds his gaze. I also know my value now. She turns around. She doesn't wait for a response. As she walks through the hallway, she passes 2 co-workers watching her in silence, the same ones who had been listening earlier. No comments, no laughter, just resentment and envy in their eyes. She leaves the hotel without looking back. Outside, the air feels different, lighter. Marcus waits for her beside the car. You didn't have to quit, he says. I did, Emily replies. For myself. And before we go, we need to pick up my daughter. He nods. The drive to the daycare is short. Emily goes in first. Lily runs toward her. Mommy! Emily kneels and hugs her daughter, holding her a little too tight for a second. We're going somewhere new today, she says. Lily looks at Marcus, curious. Hi, she says politely. He crouches down to her level. Hello, Lily. In the car, Lily watches everything through the window. Emily stays quiet, processing everything. Marcus's house welcomes them calmly. Warm light, respectful silence. Nothing overly luxurious, nothing cold. They sit at the kitchen table. Marcus pours water, then stops. He looks at Emily. There's something you should know, he says. Emily feels her body tense. Lily plays with a napkin, distracted. That hotel room, he takes a deep breath, wasn't destroyed because of money or anger alone. He stands up, walks to a drawer, takes out a small box, places it on the table. I had 2 daughters, he finally says. They were Lily's age when these were taken. Emily feels the air leave her lungs. He opens the box. The same photographs. They died in a car accident, Marcus continues. 3 months ago. Lily looks at the pictures. She doesn't understand everything, but she understands enough. She steps closer, rests her hand on his arm. Marcus closes his eyes. Those pictures were the only ones I had of them as children, he says. When I thought they were gone, his voice breaks. I lost control. Emily doesn't speak. She doesn't need to. You didn't know any of this, Marcus says. And still, you returned them. Emily takes a deep breath, because they weren't mine. Lily wraps his hand with both of her small hands. I'm sorry, she says softly. Marcus kneels in front of her. For the first time, he cries without hiding it. The kitchen remains silent, but now, it's a silence that doesn't hurt. The house changes little by little. Not in a visible way on the first day, not on the second, but in details only those who live there notice. On the first morning, Emily wakes up before sunrise. Not out of obligation, out of habit. She walks quietly into the kitchen to make coffee. When she looks up, Marcus is already awake, sitting at the table, staring out the window. You don't have to start so early, he says. Emily smiles softly. I know. Still, she continues. Lily appears shortly after, sleepy, dragging her feet. She sits at the table, observing the new space with quiet curiosity. "Can I draw here?" she asks. "Anywhere," Marcus replies. She spreads her colored pencils across the table. Emily watches the two of them for a moment. Not as a family, not yet, but as something trying to exist again. In the days that follow, a routine settles in. Emily works in the house, not as servitude, as care. She organizes, cleans, cooks. Marcus doesn't give unnecessary orders, doesn't hover, doesn't correct. He respects. At night, Lily sleeps in the guest room. The door is never fully closed. Before the surgery, Emily almost backs out twice. In the hospital waiting room, she grips her bag tightly against her chest. Her hands sweat. Marcus sits beside her. He doesn't say everything will be okay. He doesn't promise anything. He just stays. When the doctor comes out and says everything went well, Emily doesn't cry right away. She just releases the breath she's been holding for months. Lily wakes up later, confused but without pain. Emily gently holds her daughter's face. "No more pain," she whispers. Lily smiles, still groggy. Days pass. The girl's smile changes. Not just because of the surgery, but because now she sleeps without discomfort, without fear. In the house, Marcus finds things he thought he had lost. The sound of small footsteps in the hallway. Drawings taped to the refrigerator. Unexpected laughter. One night, Lily leaves a drawing on the table. 3 people holding hands. Emily watches from a distance. She doesn't comment. Marcus picks up the paper carefully. He doesn't ask anything. The next day, he places the drawing in a simple frame. Emily notices. Nothing is said. One afternoon, Marcus opens the box of photographs again. This time, not alone. He places 2 photos on the table. "Would you like to help me keep them safe?" he asks Lily, who is walking nearby. She understands what that means. She nods. They organize the photos together. Not as a memorial of pain, but as living memory. Emily steps closer. "They were pretty," she says, pointing to the girls in the photos. Marcus closes his eyes for a moment. "They were," he answers. Then he smiles. For the first time, without guilt. Time passes without announcements. There is no loud music, no explanatory scenes. There are small changes. Emily receives her first full paycheck. She doesn't celebrate. She simply places the receipt carefully in a drawer. That night, she buys better fruit. Lily notices. "Is it a special day?" Emily thinks for a moment. "It's a calmer one," she answers. Marcus watches from a distance. He starts leaving the house earlier. Not for social commitments, for walks. Sometimes alone, sometimes with Lily, who insists on holding his whole hand with both of hers. One Saturday afternoon, Emily finds something at the back of a closet. The hotel uniform, neatly folded. She runs her hand over the fabric. Not with anger, with recognition. Then she closes the door. In the living room, Lily draws on the floor. Marcus reads an old book but hasn't turned the page in minutes. Emily enters with 2 cups of tea. She places one beside him. "Thank you," he says. She nods. There is no longer any need for explanations. On the hallway wall, 3 frames now fill a space that was once empty. 2 with old photos. 1 with Lily's drawing. Nothing was replaced. Nothing was erased. Everything found its place. On a quiet night, Marcus stays alone in the living room after Emily and Lily go to sleep. He picks up one of the photographs. He doesn't cry. The pain still exists, but it no longer controls everything. He puts it back, turns off the light. Before going upstairs, he stops by the guest room door, watches Lily sleeping peacefully. He closes the door gently, and for the first time in a long while, the house doesn't feel too big. Money can be lost, photos can disappear, but character always finds its way back. If this story touched your heart, I'd be grateful if you like and subscribe. You will receive daily stories about kindness, justice, and second chances. Comment what you would do if you were in Emily's situation. Would you keep the money or return it, even in such a difficult moment? Thank you for being here.